As we start our travels through Makos this evening, sponsored by Eddie Chazan, who I didn't expect to see back so fast. The Refuah Shalema for Yedidya ben Penina, Shoshana bas Penina, and Simone bas Rachel. We're also sponsored Nishmas David ben Chaim, Refuah Shalema for Eliyomash Mechayesar, Yaakov ben Bas Yeleah, the Schus of Avram and Yom Beinish Malkiudis and family. And we are co-sponsored by Shelley Zeitlin, Refuah Shalema for Moshe Meir ben Esther Fradel, and for the Schus of his children, Eli, Orit, and Ora. We have some mazel tovs to wish. We have a mazel tov to wish to Naftali Jablin, who's making a vort this Sunday, mazel tov, and the zivik should be Eli Yafazayin. We have a mazel tov to Menachem Yermansky, who's making a siyum this Sunday, and mazel tov to you, Menachem. You should be able to be zeicha to make many siyumim, and that is a very big simcha. I didn't even realize it, but I have this Sunday a bar mitzvah of an einikel. I didn't even know that. I didn't know it was coming up this Sunday. So we're going to see what the plans are going to be for Sunday's daf. I didn't even figure that out yet. Well, I'm sure it'll be interesting, but we are for now.
Rabbi Weiss, whose bar mitzvah boy is it?
Yaakov.
Ah, very nice. Send him my best, please.
I would tell you that my son has enough problems, but okay.
Okay.
You know what? The Olam has arrived timely tonight, so I already could at the beginning of this year. As is my custom, welcome in Shimon Klein, Mel Zachter, Irving Fishbaum, and Irving, it's good to see you, and Reb Deer, Dr. Guy, Saba, and Michal, Mark Frankel, who came down the chimney, Marshall Castle, Yisrael Fisher, en route to...
I followed Mark down the chimney.
En route down to Brooklyn, and who is that? I don't know. Camera's not focused. I think that I don't know who that is. And Yaakov Warman and Barry Cement, Chaim Lerner. That's Marshall Castle. No, it's not. Mo Kushner, Reb Kaniel, Menachem Yermansky, Dov Selkowitz, Ruvain Pollack, Baruch Ian, Naftali Jablin, Shelley Zeitlin, Daniel Rosenberg, Shelley Zeitlin, Moshe Lehman, Nachman Chappell, Ilya Shutman, Yitzi Muller, Abe Arbach, and here, that's Itchy. Itchy. He showed up, he was hiding, he was playing hide and go seek. What happened to Eddie Chazan? Oh, I guess he'll be back, probably in a tunnel or something. And here we have Berish Gesseman and Chaim Kramer, Michal Avram, Reuven Shamanet, and Reb Krause, right? Yeah, Krause. David Helfgott on Kol Lashon. So Ravina says, La'olam, it's as if, as Kedamrina Meikara, it's as if we assumed that Rabbi Akiva holds that is top on your Dalet Amud Aleph, top line your Dalet Amud Aleph. Kedamrina Meikara, that according to Rabbi Akiva, by Chayve Mises Bezdin, there's no Malchus, because it says Kedei Rishasai, Risha Achas we give and not Shtei Rishayas, but by Chayve Krisis there is. The reason is when it comes to Karish, She'im Asa Tshuva, Bezdin Shomayla Mochalin Lahem, because if you do Tshuva, then Bezdin will forgive the Karis, and therefore that's why there's Malchus, because it's not two penalties. My Amrit, what are you going to say? Holo yavid tshuva. But right now we didn't do tshuva. But loy psika milsa l'karis, since it's not definitive that there will be karis, so therefore it's not excluded from kedei rishasa to have malchus. Rabbi Yitzchak Amar, 4 lines from the top of Yud Dalet Amud Aleph. Remember, Rabbi Yitzchak learns out that it says karis for anyone that does any immoral relationship. So it already says by all of the serious immoral crimes that there's karis. Why does it single it out by a sister? It says by incest with a sister that there's karis. Rabbi Yitzchak Amar chayve krisis bichlal hayu. It says it in a general statement. V'lama yatzasa karis b'achaisai. Why does it single out karis by a sister? L'dainai b'karis v'loi b'malchus. To tell us that there's only karis and not malchus. So the Gemara says the Rabbanan that hold that there is malchus by karis. Why does it single out karis by a sister? Rabbanan karis b'achaisai lamali l'chalek. That's to tell you that if you do a bunch of averis, immoral averis, in one state of unawareness, you're chayiv a chatas for each one. Ukid Rabbi Yochanan, Dama Rabbi Yochanan, she'im asen kulam be'elam echad. If you do all these immoral crimes in one state of unawareness, b'shaygei chayiv al kol achas var achas. Says the Gemara of Rabbi Yitzchak l'chalik minolei. How does he know to differentiate? Nafkale, because it says in extra pasuk, vel isha benidas tumasa, a woman in the nidas tumasa, in her flow of tuma. Now that's an extra word because it could have just said vel isha benida or isha betumasa, loy sikrav. Why does it have to say benidas tumasa? L'chayiv, it's coming l'chayiv al kol isha ve'isha, to be mechayiv you for each and every immoral action that you do, a separate chatas. Says the Gemara, so v'rabbanan nami tevim. The Rabbanan could also learn that out from the extra word of benidas tumasa. What you don't need achaisai. Says Gemara enochanami. Why does it say an extra time chorus by a sister? That's coming that if somebody sleeps with his sister and his father's sister and his mother's sister, all b'shoigeg, that he's chayiv 3 chatases, even though they all have the same name of a sister. Says the Gemara, it's l'chayvei alachaisai if he sleeps with his sister, v'alachais aviv and his father's sister, v'alachais imai. So the Gemara says that's not a chiddush. That's obvious. That's not a chiddush. By the way, we have 30 zoomers over here now, which is very nice as we getting back up our numbers after all the truancy that's been around here. Look how everybody looks down, like I'm not looking at them. Says the Gemara, of course you're chayiv a chatas for each a sister, a father's sister, and a mother's sister. Pshita hari gufun muchlakin, they're 3 different bodies, and hari shemas muchlakin, they're 3 different names. One's a sister, one's a father's sister, and one's a mother's sister. So of course you're going to be a separate chatas for each one. It's talking about, and here we're going to smell some Yavamas. That's what Berish says. Look, if I'm staying here in Lakewood, I want to get my money's worth. Right? So Ella, Achaisai, it's talking about a case to your chayiv where she's your sister, Shehi Achais Aviv, and she's also your father's sister, and she's also your mother's sister. The same woman, get a load of this, Rabbi say. The same woman is your sister, your father's sister, and your mother's sister. So how do you have that the same woman is your father's sister, your mother's sister, and your sister? So here, really, I should have drawn a picture for you. I didn't want to start messing around with posting up a picture, so I didn't do it. But people are having trouble over here getting on. I don't know why. All right. Dr. Block is in, but Eddie Chazan is having trouble getting in. Is Eddie finally on? No, I think we lost him. So it is very hard beaming in from a flying saucer. Says the Gemara, the only way you could have that the same person is your sister, is your mother's sister, and your father's sister is by a Rasha. V'heichen mishkachsa b'rishia bar rishia. A Rasha, the son of a Rasha. Now here's the case. I'm going to be charitable tonight, and I'm going to leave Barry and Marshall out of this one. I'm feeling charitable. I'm even going to leave.
Let's go get a slice of pizza.
I'm even going to leave Eddie out of this. This is you got to hear this case. We're getting our 31st Zoomer. That's good. Our numbers are getting back to normal over here. Okay, so here's the case. You know, one of the more famous questions over here is who was Avraham Avinu's mother, right? It's the famous extra credit question, right? So the mother was Amasloi Bas Karnava.
Bas Karnava.
Right. So here, Amasloi has a son Nachar, right? And that because Avram and Nachar were Avram and Nachar were brothers, right? Avram, Nachar, and Haran, right? So Amasloi has a son Nachar, and Nachar was a bad boy, and Amasloi was a bad lady, and Nachar sleeps with his mother. Oy, ouch. Nachar sleeps with his mother, and they have two girls, Rachel and Leah. Okay? Then, Nachar, who we said is a Rasha, sleeps with one of his daughters. He sleeps with Rachel. And he has Chatzkel. I was going to say Marshall, but I gave him a break. He has Chatzkel. So let's review. Nachar first slept with his mother and had two girls, Rachel and Leah. Then Nachar slept with one of his girls. After he sleeps with his mother, he sleeps with his daughter. Nachar sleeps with Rachel. And from Rachel, he has Chatzkel. Now, Chatzkel, we said, remember, he's a Rasha, the son of a Rasha. Chatzkel sleeps with his other sister, Leah. When Chatzkel sleeps with Leah, he's sleeping, of course, with his sister, because Chatzkel and Leah are brother and sister, because they're both of them are born from Nachar. But he's also sleeping with his father's sister, because remember, Rachel and Leah were the children of Nachar's mother, Amaslai. So therefore, Leah is also his father's sister. And on top of that, on top of that, Leah is also his mother's sister. Because remember, Nachor slept with Leah's sister Rachel and had Chatzkel. So when Chatzkel sleeps with Leah, he's sleeping with his sister, he's sleeping with his father's sister, and he's also sleeping with his mother's sister. I see I lost some people over here. So let me repeat it again. It really isn't that hard. If it's hard, then the Rebbe is making it hard. Let's go over, we're just not used to such criminality. Again, maybe if I would have used Marshall, we would have understood it better. But okay. What happened over here is Amaslai is Nachor's mother. Nachor sleeps with his mother, Amaslai. And from his mother, he has two girls, Rachel and Leah. Then, Nachor sleeps with his daughter, Rachel, and has a son, Chatzkel. Now, Chatzkel sleeps with the other sister, Leah. So when Chatzkel sleeps with Leah, Chatzkel is sleeping with his sister, because both Leah's and Chatzkel's father is Nachor. So Chatzkel is sleeping with his sister. But since Chatzkel's mother is Rachel, because remember Nachor slept with his daughter, so then Leah is also his mother's sister. And since Nachor slept with his mother to have Leah, so therefore Leah is also his father's sister, Nachor's sister. So therefore Leah is his sister, his mother's sister, and his father's sister. Says the Gemara, so how do you know you would be chayiv 3 chatas for that? So that's why it says achaisai extra chorus to tell us that if a Rasha, the son of a Rasha, that's Chatzkel, the son of Nachor, they're both Risham. Nachor slept with his mother, slept with his daughter, Chatzkel slept with his sister. It's coming to tell you that you're chayiv 3 chatois, even though it's the same body, but it's 3 shemos, achaisai, achais imai, and achas aviv, you're chayiv. Yeah.
And they learn this from it's handed down.
Handed down.
There's nothing from Psukim that needed it.
Handed down.
Handed down.
Says the Gemara, Reb Yitzchak, who learns out that you don't get malchus by chorus from achaisai haminale. How does he know this? Says the Gemara, nafkalei mekal v'chaymer. The Tanya, I'm Rabbi Kiva Shalti, as Rabbi Gamliel, Rabbi Yeshua Be'edla Shali Imam. I asked Rabbi Gamliel and Rabbi Yeshua in the meat market of Imam, Shahol Chulikach Behema, when Rabbi Gamliel and Rabbi Yeshua went to buy an animal. The Mishnah B'nai Rabbi Gamliel went to buy an animal for the wedding of the son of Rabbi Gamliel. Imagine, this is a question. We struggle over this as we're sitting in front of Gemaras and learning. This was a casual question that they asked in the meat market. Right? So he asked him, if the woman is his sister, also his father's sister and his mother's sister, mahu, what's the din? Are you only chayiv one for all of them, since it's one body? Or you chayiv al kol achas v'achas, or you chayiv achatas for each one, since it's 3 shemos. It's achaisai, it's achaisimai, and it's achais aviv. Amalai, so he said to him, Zuloi Shemanu. This I didn't hear. Shemanu habal chamesh nashim nidais be'elam echad, that if you sleep with 5 menstruant women, all in one state of unawareness, shechayiv al kol achas v'achas. Now, v'nirin devarim, it would appear to me, kat mekal v'chaymer, because over there it's the same shame. It's nida. Uma nida shi shem echad. Chayiv al kol achas v'achas. Kan sheshloisha shemas here, where it's 3 different shemas. It's achaisai, achais imai, and achais aviv like kol shechen. However, the other one says that's not a good Kal V'chomer. Kal V'chomer Pricho, that's a refutable Kal V'chomer, because in the case of the Nida, it's 5 different bodies. Ma'ala Nida Sheken Guf and Mechlaken, it's 5 different bodies. Idach Nami Havade Kal V'chomer Pricho. According to Rabbi Yitzchak also, it's definitely a refutable Kal V'chomer. It says an extra time at the end of the pasuk, achaisei. V'idach achaisei the seifa lamali. Why does it say achaisei an extra time at the end of the pasuk? L'chayvay al achaisei bas aviv bas imay. It's coming to tell you, even though the pasuk says if it's a paternal sister or a maternal sister, how do I know if it's both maternal and paternal? So we know that from the achaisei at the end of the pasuk. And Leimer, even though you would say if you're chayiv just for a paternal sister and you're chayiv for a maternal sister, if they're both, you're surely chayiv. But Leimer she'ein einshin min adin, that we don't give penalties from a Kal V'chomer, you have to say, because we once explained that tzad not to give penalties from a Kal V'chomer is we're going to say that maybe if it's only a half sister, their chorus is enough to be mechaper. But if it's a double, if it's a paternal and a maternal, maybe the crime is so great, it's such a great incestuous crime, that maybe the choruses are not enough to be mechaper. V'idach, iba yis'ema goymer onish me'asara. We learn out onish from asara, because by asara we have a proof by the lav that it also includes a maternal and a paternal sister, and we compare the punishment to the warning. The Iba Yisema, or else Nafkale, he learns it out. Me'achoisei dereisha. Says the Gemara, V'idach. What do you mean you learn it out from the achoisei dereisha? Hamu mebayilei lechalek. That achoisei in the beginning, that comes to tell me to make a distinction of chorus l'mefatem u'lesach. If somebody compounds oil with all the ingredients of a shemen hamishcha, and then he anoints himself with it, he's chayav a chatis for each one. And we tell you that if even though it says achaisai by arayis, but if it's not needed in eina inyan la arayis teneo inyan, that if a person compounds the oil of shemen hamishcha with the ingredients of the shemen hamishcha, and then he anoints himself, he's chayav a separate chatas for each one. V'idach savak Rabbi Lazar amar Rabbi Yishia. The amar Rabbi Lazar amar Rabbi Yishia kol makom she'ata motzei shnei lavin v'koros echad. If there is 2 lavin, even though it says chorus once, chalukin ein lekarban. We don't need a pasuk for that, since it says a separate lav for the compounding and a separate lav for the anointing. Even though it only says 1 chorus, it's obvious that there's 2 karbanos, and therefore it doesn't need a pasuk. The Iba Yisema lo yisavala k'Rebbe Lazar. He doesn't hold like Rebbe Lazar that 2 lavin automatically mean that there's 2 karbanos. However, v'nafkele, he learns it out me'isha asher yishkav es isha dava, because there's an extra pasuk if a man sleeps with a woman with a flow. Now that's already an extra pasuk. It already says covers by all the forbidden unions. So this comes to tell us l'chalek by mefatem and sach. V'idach ha'um ebaylei l'kir Rabbi Yochanan. Dam Rabbi Yochanan mishum shem ben Yochai. This is interesting. What happens if blood comes out of the uterus, but it appears not from the vaginal canal, but from a C-section? Does a woman become tummy? Or is it only if it comes, the menstrual blood, only if it comes through the vaginal canal? So the Gemara says, minayin she'eno isha tmeya at sheyeche madva derech ervasa. How do we know that a woman is only tamei if the impurity comes out by way of her nakedness, by way of the vaginal canal? Shenema v'isha sheyiskav es isha dava, a man who sleeps with a woman who has a flow, v'gila es ervosa, only if it comes by way of her nakedness. Malamit she'ena isha tmeya at sheyetze madva derech ervosa. Okay, new sugya. Very technical drashas over here. It says, "V'tamei she'ochal es hakodesh." A person who's tamei that eats kachim. Now, there's two cases of kares. A person who's tamei who enters in the mikdash, or a person who's tamei, who has tumas aguf, that eats kachim. Both of these are kares, and if you did it unwittingly, you bring a carbon chatas. So the Gemara says, "Bishleima habala mikdash tamei," that if you enter into the temple environment when you're tamei, ksiv einish uksiv azara. It says the penalty and it says the warning. Einish t'ksiv es mishkan Hashem timei v'nichrasa. The tabernacle of Hashem, he contaminates and it gets karas. Azara, it says clearly, v'lo yitamu es machaneim. You shouldn't contaminate your camp. Ela tamei she'achal es hakodesh. But that if a tamei, somebody with tumas aguf eats kachim, bishleima einish, the penalty ksiv v'nefesh asher teichel basim mizevach hashlamim. If somebody eats from the sacrifice of a peace offering, Hashem la Hashem v'tumasa yalav, and he is in a state of tumah v'nechrasa. So it says clearly that if you eat kachim b'tumas aguf, you get karas. But where is there a warning? Ela ashara minayin. That's a problem. There is no open pasuk that warns us not to eat kachim b'tumas aguf. Says the Gemara, Reish Lakish Amar, it says in the pasuk, B'chol kodesh loy siga. All kodesh you should not touch. Now, even though it says in the pasuk touch, it really means eat. And it means that somebody who's tamei should not eat kachim. We'll talk in a minute why it says siga if it means eating. Rabbi Yochanan says, Tani Bardula taught, Asya Tumasai. It's a Gzeir Shava Tuma. Ksiv Hacha, it says about a tummy person who eats kachim v'tumasu alav v'nichrasa, or Ksiv Hasam, and it says about a person who enters the Mishkan, or the temple, Tamayiyah ay Tumasai vai. Right, so we learn out Gzeir Shava Tuma. Ma'alahalon, just like by the mikdash, entering in the mikdash while you're tamei, there's an oynesh v'azhara. Afkan, so here also by eating kachim b'tumas agov, there's an oynesh and an azhara. So the Gemara says, okay, Bishlai Reish Lakish Le'amak Rabbi Yochanan Reish Lakish, who learns it out from the Kol Kodesh Le'siga. You know why he doesn't learn out from the Gzeir Shav of Tumasai? Because you can't make up your own Gzeir Shav. You have to have it from your Rebbe. Because Gzeir Shav Le'gamir. He never got a tradition of this Gzeir Shav of Tuma. No, Reish Lakish and Rabbi Yochanan were at this point colleagues. So the Gemara says, El Rabbi Yochanan, my time of Reish Lakish. Why does Rabbi Yochanan not learn it out from the pasuk of B'chol Kodesh Le'siga? Says the Gemara, no, B'chol Kodesh Le'siga is not talking about kachim, it's talking about truma. Amalacha hu azhara le'truma. That's talking about not eating truma b'tumas aguf. Says the Gemara, so Reish Lakish, who learns out from B'chol Kodesh Le'siga kachim, how does he know that you can't eat truma b'tuma? The Reish Lakish azhara le'truma minalei. And how do you know that you're not allowed to eat truma b'tuma sagov? Nafkalei meish mizera Aaron v'utzarua oizav, who is a mitzayra or a zav, Truma Kachim, the pasuk says, the lashon is, let me just get the ish mizera mutzerua izav, bakachim lo yoichel ad asher yitar, bakachim he shouldn't eat until he purifies himself. Now here it says mizera Aaron. Now what could be eaten by all of Zera Aaron? Truma. Because different types of kachim could only be eaten by male kohanim, like kachim, chatas, oshem, could only be eaten by male kohanim. So here it says, ish mizera Aaron v'tzurua azav, ezo davashu shava bizarre shel Aaron. It could be both for men and women. Have a yom ezu truma. So you see that here we have a prohibition to eat truma b'tumas haguf. V'idach. So, and Rabbi Yochanan, who says Bakol Kodesh Leisiga is talking about Truma. The pasuk of Ish Mizera Aaron V'Tzeru Azav Hahul Achila. That's talking about eating Truma B'Tumas Haguf. The whole Negiah, and this pasuk Bakol Kodesh Leisiga is telling you you're not allowed to even touch Truma, even touch the Truma. Reish Lakish. Hai b'chol kodesh leisiga lahachi hu da'asa. According to Reish Lakish, does b'chol kodesh leisiga come to tell me that you can't eat kachim b'tumas haguf? Ai hahu mebayilei l'tamei shenoga b'kodesh. Isn't that needed to teach me that one who is tamei, that touches kachim, the kachim can't be eaten? Says the Gemara, De'emar Tomei Shinaga B'Kodesh, Reish Lakish HaMaloika. Reish Lakish says he gets Malchus. Rabbi Yochanan HaMaloika. Reish Lakish HaMaloika because it says B'Kol Kodesh Leisiga. So you see that we learn out from B'Kol Kodesh Leisiga that if somebody is B'Tumas Haguf and he touches Kachim, he gets Malchus. Rabbi Yochanan HaMaloika because Ahu Ashara L'Truma Udasa. As we said, Rabbi Yochanan says this is talking about Truma and not kachim. Says the Gemara, the truth of the matter is, Tamei shenoga b'kodesh, Reish Lakish Taka learns out from b'chol kodesh leisiga that a tamei that touches kachim gets malchus. Mida'apke rachmana b'lashon negiah. Ashara, that's because we make a hekish kodesh to the mikdash. Ashara kodesh l'mikdash, just like by the mikdash, it's forbidden to enter the mikdash b'tama. So also by kachim, it's forbidden to eat it b'tama. Says the Gemara, but va'akate lahachi hu da'asa. Does it come to teach us about touching and eating kachim b'tumas haguf? We learn out from this pasuk of B'chol Kodesh Leisiga to tell me that if a tamei eats kachim even before the zrikas damim, now that's a big chiddush, because I might say that it's only forbidden after the zrika. The tamei she'achal basar kodesh l'fnei zrikas damim. Even before the blood was thrown, Reish Lakish HaMaloika, Reish Lakish says to Malchus, Rabbi Yochanan ain't a loika. Reish Lakish HaMaloika, B'chol Kodesh Leisiga, Loishna L'fnei Zrika, V'loishna L'achas Zrika. Not only after the throwing of the blood, but even before. Rabbi Yochanan Amar ain't a loika. Rabbi Yochanan L'tamei, the Amar Kra Tumasai, it's a Gzeir Shavat Tuma. The ki ksiv tumasai, and when does it say the word tumasai? Only by after zricha. Lacha zrika u'dechsiv. Says the Gemara, yeah, you're right. Reish Lakish learns out from B'kol Kodesh Leisiga even before zrika's damim, but that he learns out from the word b'chol. Ha'ume b'chol Kodesh nafka. That's what he learns from the ribui of Kol Kodesh. And indeed, we have a brisa like Reish Lakish. Tanya Kavase de Reish Lakish. Again, welcome in Richard Rosenzweig as we are are holding 6 lines from the bottom of Daf Yud Daled Amud Beis, 6 lines from the bottom of a very technical daf, Rabbi. So if you found this daf to be technical, then you're a very normal person. A very normal person. So
Yeah, really.
I was talking in general terms, Marshall.
I'm only a marshal, I'm not a general, sorry.
Now,
Marshall, it's all you.
What?
Now, Tanya Kavase de Reish Lakish, B'chol Kodesh lo Siga, all kachim you shouldn't touch, Azara lo Eichel. Now, even though the pasuk says Tiga, which means touch, it's also a warning not to eat kachim b'tumas haguf. Talmud Leimer, this is where we make a hekesh. Bakol kodesh leisiga ve'al hamikdash leisavai. We juxtapose kodesh to the mikdash, just like the mikdash you're not allowed to enter b'tumas haguf. So also the kachim you're not allowed to eat b'tumas haguf. Makish kodesh mikdash, ma mikdash davish yesh by netilas neshama, something which involves chorus. So obviously it's not. It's kol davish yesh by netilas neshama. It's talking about something which has chorus. Negia, touching kachim while your tummy certainly doesn't have chorus. V'iba negia mi'ika netilas neshama ela ba'achila. But it uses the word tiga to tell you that if you touch it, you do get malchus, and it says bichol kodesh to tell me you're chayiv b'tumas haguf, whether you did it after the zrikas hadam or even if you ate the kachim before the zrikas hadam. Okay, Rabbi said we'll stop over here. This was again quite a technical piece of Gemara. I want to remind you that tomorrow night we will also have a Chumash shir on Shmini. A very interesting Chumash shir is being prepared for your learning pleasure. Eddie, it's very good to see you, and we wish everybody a wonderful evening.